Swaggin', oh, I'm ballin', I have a song on you.
Today we're going to be asking the question, should marijuana be legal for recreational use?
We're going to be interviewing
a oncologist in Santa Barbara, and a surgical oncologist is a surgeon who operates on patients with cancer.
All right. First question of mine is, do you think that in the state of California that marijuana should be legalized for recreational use? And do you have any, thoughts on that?
So my strong opinions are more about the medical use of marijuana because I'm a medical doctor. And I don't use marijuana or buy marijuana, so the question is, do I have a strong opinion about recreational use? I guess that's similar to a question about, do I think people should buy and drink alcohol? And I would probably say, I think people that want to use marijuana recreationally should legally be able to purchase it.
All right. Do you think this would be good for businesses in California?
Well, it would be good for the marijuana business.
Yeah.
Currently there's a medical marijuana business, but there isn't a marijuana business for recreational use. That's not allowed in California. It is allowed in Colorado and the state of Washington, but not in California. So,
do you think that, if it was allowed, it would be good,
for whom?
For Santa Barbara in general, if they had recreational, shops, and it was allowed.
So I guess you're asking, would it economically help the city?
Correct.
And that I'm uncertain of. I'm not sure if that would benefit the town. Would the shops make a lot of money and they would give that money back to the community or donate it to schools? I probably don't know the answer to that, because I'm not a business person, I'm a medical doctor.
Alright. So, why do you think people are voting against this from happening?
I think people who don't want others to use drugs think that by keeping it illegal, they're keeping people from using drugs, and that's not totally logical thinking. Just like, again, I mentioned this term called prohibition, and when alcohol used to be prohibited, plenty of people still drank. They had ways to get alcohol. So if somebody really wants to get something, they're going to get it, even if they have to buy it illegally, and are involved with people committing crimes who are selling the drug.
Yeah.
So, I don't know, I don't read other people's minds, but my guess is people are against it because they're against the use of the drug.
Okay. Alright. What are your opinion on one of two articles these articles I'm going to, talk about.
Okay.
One article is called Top 10 Reasons Why, Top 10 Reasons Not to Legalize Medical Marijuana. Alright, and I wrote down this, which is part of the article. They say education would be greatly affected. Do you agree?
I have no idea. I don't know what that statement means.
Education would say, say if it was legalized and, all these people could get it, and say if people in high school knew people that were, 21 and over, they could be like, yo, give me something. They'd be like, okay.
Don't you think that's already happening? It's already happening. So the states that have legalized marijuana say from the article.
Alright. And another point they make is addiction rates would rise up, meaning as in people would just get addicted to it, and they would have better access to it, since if they were over the age, there's no limits pretty much.
So I don't know if they have data on that. There are countries where marijuana is legal, like Holland and Portugal, and I don't believe they have data that because it's legal there are more addicts. In fact, my impression is the opposite, that legalizing it, the same number of people still use it. The people who used it when it was illegal and the people that use it when it's legal. People either like to use marijuana or they don't use it. And I'm somebody who doesn't use it. I'm not going to start using marijuana just because I can buy it legally.
And on the pro side, it would right. On the pro side, they said that if they, reasons to legalize it are they could create like a safe situation where like you said, adults can only buy this and like 14-year-old kids can't. They're saying like that could happen, and they'd be like really strict on that. But they also say that for kids that have cancer, that their parents with like a doctor's recommendation could get them that.
For the people who have cancer or other illnesses that benefit from medical marijuana would have an easier time getting hold of it.
Yeah.
And not have to get a medical marijuana card or try and get it illegally.
Yeah.
So that's the people arguing in favor of it. There are examples of people who, instead of taking 5 different prescription drugs, which are really difficult to take, like pain medications, sometimes one, just using medical marijuana works.
Okay. One question on there is, how has marijuana impacted the medical field? What is your opinion on that?
Oh boy. I think it's real regional. So in some parts of the country, doctors have adopted using medical marijuana for their patients that benefit from it, and in others they're more skeptical. There's a lot that's not known about the drug itself, the plant. There is about marinol, which is a portion of the plant. And I think people are realizing there may be real potential for medical marijuana.
Yeah.
So that's it.
What is the basis to which marijuana is prescribed?
What is the basis? So I've never prescribed medical marijuana, but I have patients that have used medical marijuana, cancer patients that have used medical marijuana. And so there are guidelines for prescribing medical marijuana, and that's done by certain individual doctors when their patients meet those guidelines. And they have things to do like chronic pain or a variety of other illnesses that medical marijuana has been shown to help with. So medical marijuana is legal in California. That's an important distinction for your debate here.
Yes.
We don't need to change a law to have medical marijuana. And so if medical marijuana is already in place in California and patients can get marijuana and use it as medication legally in this state.
Okay. Do you have patients that have benefited from marijuana use?
Yeah, patients with chronic pain, patients who can't sleep, patients who have no appetite and are losing weight to such a degree that they could die, patients who are nauseated after chemotherapy, patients with severe depression.
Yes. Okay. What is your opinion that the views of use of marijuana is much how alcohol was in the 20s during the Prohibition?
So earlier I talked about that word prohibit, meaning that if you just prohibit somebody to do something, it doesn't always work. You can make huge penalties if somebody uses it. So let's say if somebody got caught with marijuana, we said you're going to go to prison and you're never getting out. Well, that's a pretty big deterrent. I mean, that's a pretty big threat. But generally speaking, when you prohibit people from doing things that they really want to do, it's not the best way to try and control people, to just say you can't do it. So in my experience, there's some things people really want. Alcohol's one of them. And in the 20s, they tried to prohibit people from ever using alcohol. And it didn't work. It went underground, and it was sold by criminals, and it was made by criminals, and made by gangs, and made by mobs. And so my own opinion is prohibition isn't the best way to try and convince people not to use marijuana, to just make it illegal. Because I think they'll use it anyway.
Yeah.
So it's not very effective.
Okay, thank you.
Sure.